Hi there, and welcome to Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles here on WEIU. I'm your host, Duska Cornwell. Today, I get to introduce to you Dave Ross from Mattoon, Illinois. He has an amazing Native American collection, and we'll also be talking with Lori Sawyer from Lerna, Illinois. She is a primitive artist, and you're gonna want to see her work, so stay tuned. Well, Dave Ross, welcome to Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing all this wonderful stuff. I'm so excited because this is something I don't know a lot about, and I'm fascinated by what I'm seeing. How long have you been collecting Native America?
I've probably been collecting, since I was, before I was a teenager for a long time. I became interested in it because my mother is of a Native American background. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in an area where just working in the fields, and these artifacts were plentiful and would find them. Then so I became more and more interested in them, because wondering if they could be traced back to my mother's ancestry. I mean, who were the people that actually made these? These were tools and of their trade, and I came to grips one day as I was searching for them, and I picked up an artifact, and I got to thinking, this thing hasn't been touched for hundreds or thousands of years until right now by another human. And I began to wonder who those people were, so I spent a lot of years doing research to try to find out who they were. And the more research I did, the more complicated the question became, because as hundreds of years passed, and what was a good campsite today would have been a good campsite 1,000 years ago. So you found newer pieces right alongside really old stuff. And one of the biggest ways to tell the difference is, for example, let's look at this frame right here. This piece right here is extremely old. It's very old. And one of the reasons that the older stuff is of much better quality is the fact that the Indians' very livelihood depended on the quality of their tools and weapons. And for example, this one here is a much poor quality, and it's newer than this type here, or say this type, or this one, or this one. And the reason for that being that the European influence came to play in probably the mid-1700s. The Indians started trading furs and things, and they also got to trading for gunpowder and guns. And so as time went on, if the European population felt like the Indians were getting out of line, they withheld the gunpowder, forcing them to go back to making their own artifacts, which was becoming a lost art. So
I see. Now these are spearheads, aren't they? With
these are mostly everything you see here are knife blades.
Oh.
Except for example, this large here's a drill. And
this long, slender one here.
I might point out this piece right here, the fact that it's so old. If it didn't have that chip in it right, that's a real heartbreaker. It would probably be worth more than the rest of all these things put together.
Wow. So what now, age would you put that at?
That's archaic. That goes way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Okay.
And another little interesting thing, this dovetail right here. I used to live in Windsor, Illinois, and I found that one spring in my garden while I was tilling the garden.
Which one was that?
This right here.
Okay.
And for example, this one was found in Fayette County. Most all the stuff was found here locally.
Okay.
This piece here is rather unique. It's called an E-notch, and that's because of the type of a notch it is. They're somewhat found in western Pennsylvania, a little bit in eastern Ohio, but I've had several big collectors look at it and said they have never seen one found this far west, and it's extreme good quality too. So it makes it really, really unique. Now, almost all these artifacts, these knife blades, arrow points, have names. For example, that one's a Snyder because of maybe the person who found the first type like that, or they were named after possibly the location of the first ones that they found.
I see. Now these would be arrowheads, wouldn't they?
No, these are mostly knife blades.
These are, okay, explain what they
These
would
are
use a knife for. I would see these
for
and I'd think, oh,
skinning.
that's
No,
okay.
they were for skinning and working with hides and that kind of thing.
I see.
And now, I'm going to
Yeah,
hold
let me
this
hold
one up
this
here.
one.
And let me hold
is really
this one.
interesting.
These are mostly true arrow points. They, as a lot of people might think, they're not broken. The others, some have little chips on them, but three-sided arrow points. That's what was used for hunting.
Okay.
Now, these long, slender ones here you see like these are drill bits. They're drills for drilling through wood, hides, or different materials.
Like you showed me this earlier. Would it be something, this broken one? Would
that
that be something that you talk about being
that's
drilled?
extremely old. This, well, I don't know if we can see that.
Let's try. There you go.
Can you hold it where the camera
Yeah,
can see it?
absolutely.
How perfectly round that hole is.
It's kind of hard to look at the.
Yes.
There we go. Is that good?
But archaeologists have determined the way they drilled these, and the hole was the last thing that they drilled through this. This is made out of granite, and they would use sand and reeds and roll it. And sand has a very good cutting surface, and they determined that it takes 400 feet of reeds to drill 1 inch.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a time-consuming process. But
Sure.
if you could hold that up and look at it straight, that hole looks like it'd been machined in there with a lathe.
It
Yet
does.
It
It
was
is
drilled
so
through granite.
perfectly round.
Yes, and it's unfortunate that that one was broken. It's been beat up by farm equipment and things. So
And you can see some of the markings on the inside
Yes.
that show.
yeah. Now there's been several of these found that were half drilled, and there's a stem down the center. It's partially how they determined that they were used. They used reeds and rolled them in their hands with
I
sand
see.
as an abrasive to do the cutting.
I see. So
And-
tell me about some of your axe heads here. These.
Okay.
I love these. These are kind of tactile.
These are
Hold on.
a lot of people around in the earth say, "Well, I have an axe head. And I found this axe head." Let me give you a little pointer on finding that axe head. These heavy stone tools were not transported from one camp to the other.
Okay.
And when they went to a hunting camp, these heavy stone tools would have been buried. A few people would have known where they were at. If you find one, you look around because there likely to be several more.
Okay. So they're
And
just
when
too
they
heavy
return-
to transport.
Yes, when they return to that camp, they would retrieve, put a new handle on it, and they were good to go.
I
And the
see.
way they put handles on them was similar to this right here. Hold this up. This is an authentic blade my son found when he was out hunting with me one time.
Wow.
This is artificial sinew. Indians used real sinew, which is ligaments from animals, mostly deer
Deer.
or larger animals. That's the same principle they use to wrap the handles around these. And once this stuff dries, it's extremely tight.
I see. So it's not going
And-
anywhere.
No, and this is a real deer antler, and I had a guy fix this up for me, and this is
amazing.
a real, this is an authentic blade, and this is a real elk leg.
Oh, so that would be
So that was one of the
from
materials they used
the leg of an elk.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
from different animal bones and antlers and so forth, and made handles for knives and all kinds of different tools.
Wow.
But let me refer back to this thing for just a minute.
Sure.
This thing, the purpose of that was, it's called a banner stone.
Okay.
And it would have been, it's really old, so it would have been on a lance. Now, it would have slid onto the shaft of the lance, and so when the lance was thrown and impacted the prey, this thing slammed forward and just drove that point in just a little deeper. And that's what the purpose of that thing was.
I see.
Now,
Now you have a love for this and the family connection. That's a beautiful connection. What do you know? What tribe or what
Yeah,
nation?
Cherokee.
Cherokee. Okay. Was that pretty much here in Illinois? What?
the Cherokee came from along the East Coast back when the Europeans first came to the United States. the Cherokee Nation numbered 20 million, and which is a lot of people. And eventually they were, through diseases and different things, the tribe shrank in size until President Jackson ordered the removal of them to the Oklahoma Territory.
I see.
And that transpired through parts of southern Illinois.
Well, is there a way to tell, you know, when you find an artifact, is there a way to tell if it's Cherokee or Iroquois, or how do you know?
That goes back to doing the research, and some of these books I have here,
Sure.
different tribes use different types of art, you know, of knife blades and arrowheads and so forth, and so that a lot of this these came from along the river, and again I said they came from Coles County, Moultrie County, and Shelby County. So, like I said, they were all locally found.
I see. Now this is a lovely piece.
Yes.
Is your home all decorated in Native American style?
My living room is pretty much. Yeah, it looks like it belongs in the Southwest.
Now you have this one made for you, right?
Yes, I had a young lady in Sullivan make that, and all of these symbols on here are authentic Indian symbols and have meanings. And I thought it was a pretty neat little piece to.
It is.
To set up. It's a little lamp, has a little flicker light in it.
I see the flicker bulb.
Yes.
That is beautiful. Beautiful. Well, is there something that you would love to find in your collection? Now, you've got how many, you think? You were telling me you've got hundreds.
Probably 750 to 800 good pieces.
Wow.
And here's a neat piece.
Okay, this will be our last one we'll have time to show, but is this an axe head?
Nope, that's a pendant. That would have been for a necklace. There you go.
Really? What's the significance of the shape?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It just,
yeah.
I was thinking, how do you like to have a stone hanging around you?
Yeah. Sure.
And again, the weight of some of this stuff is the reason a lot of those things were, they even made knife blades and arrow points and buried those for later. They would come back to that area and retrieve them and so forth. So.
Well, all of these items are fascinating, and I think I could just go on and have you explain to me. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so much, Dave, for coming and sharing your lovely collection. I'm so excited to introduce to you Lori Sawyer from Lerna, Illinois. Lori is a primitive artist, and as you can see, she does beautiful work. Lori, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
When did you get started in this art form? Now, I'm calling it primitive art. Is that accurate? Okay.
Sure is. I started when my daughter was probably about 5 years old, when she went to school back in about 2000.
Okay, so just a little over a decade. What was the first thing you made? Do you remember?
Probably the first thing I made were these little ornaments over here on the Christmas tree, and I've been making them ever since.
These are so cute. One of these might just happen to disappear on you when I'm packing you up today. But these are so adorable. Now this feels like real fur.
That is real mink.
Mink, nice. So tell me a little bit about what materials you use for this. I'm not sure, this is a cloth, but it's kind of stiff.
The body is quilt batting.
Okay.
That I've painted and done some techniques with, and stuffed it, and that's mink fur, all different kinds, colors.
Wow. So what gives you your inspiration for something like this? Do you see something and say, ooh, that gives me an idea? Or what's your process?
The inspiration for this snowman was a garden angel, a wooden garden angel that a friend of mine gave, and she had hand-carved wooden lips, and they were just so precious. And I just had to incorporate those into a snowman, so I made those lips, and they looked like old lady prissy lipstick lips.
They do. Can you see these? They're a little 3D. I don't know if we can zoom in on those a little bit, but they are adorable. Is that clay?
They're sculpted out of clay.
Oh.
And I got the clay on the lips on there, and she needed some bling, and so I got the mink on there, and she needed a nice gaudy brooch, and so that's how she evolved.
Now, do you use mostly brooches for your vintage jewelry pieces, or do you use earrings?
I use earrings.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll use an old button if it has you know, something on it I like. Mostly earrings.
So what do you call these?
Lips.
These are lips.
Those are lips.
Those are so cute,
Thank
Lori.
you.
Very sweet. And then I
Thank
see
you.
some other ornaments. Christmas must be huge for you. You
That's
must be busy all the time.
That's right. I do Christmas from January to December.
Yeah.
Every year.
This is adorable too. Now, this is quilt batting
That
as
is
well,
also
or?
quilt batting.
Okay.
Those are just a little ornament that I made. My husband calls those my sugar cookie ornaments because they look like sugar cookies.
They
to
do
him.
sparkle. Is that mica glitter?
Yep.
Oh,
Glass
so
glitter.
cool. And then the actual eyes look like they were stitched.
I have stitched eyes on those, and I put
Okay.
some eyelids on. I stitched the face on that, the whole face.
I see. So how long would it take you to make something like this?
It's hard to say. I make them in quantity. You know, when I make the lips, I make those usually 50 at a time. You know, a couple hours, an hour, you know, at the very most to make 5 or 6 of those probably. You know, but there's the painting process and the drying, and
Sure.
so it's hard to say. I pick it up and I put it down, and so.
Well, I heard an artist the other day say that creativity is not pretty, meaning that, yeah, the result is beautiful, but the mess she makes during the time that she's making it
Exactly.
kind of takes over her house. Do you have a special workshop, or do you?
I have a sewing room
Okay.
that is stacked with sewing supplies, and I always think that I will go in there and produce in there and keep my mess in that room, but it never happens. I have a little corner in my living room that's kind of my little area, and I drag my sewing machine out, and I drag my paint out, and I work in the living room most of the time.
Wow. So do you work on Christmas items pretty much year round?
Yeah, I do.
I see.
I do some fall things, and
These are
I do
neat.
a few spring things, but mostly mostly fall and mostly winter. Snowmen, Santas,
I see.
reindeer, and those things.
So how did this art form get the name Primitive?
You know, I guess I'm not really sure. Primitive in primitive crafting, you know, like I do, kind of means a new item to look old. You know,
I
you
see.
grunge it. That's kind of a term
I've
that we
heard that
use.
term,
That's a term we
grunge.
use. Grunging is the techniques that you use to make it look old, to make it look time worn. It's sanding, painting, staining. Sometimes I use spices to make them smell really good. I use coffee and, you know, just a lot of different things that I come up with. It's never the same.
Sure. Yeah, that must be the fun of it, though.
It
is
is.
You're always
It
nothing's
is.
cookie cutter with these items at all.
No.
Look at this. This is adorable. Would this be a gourd, or what would you? It almost looks like
It's
garlic.
It's a pumpkin. It's a white pumpkin. I did those in orange and black and white, and that's just the one that I had.
It's so cool, and I love this little loop-de-loop on
That was
top
kind of
of
new
it.
this year.
And this is so cute. This turkey. Tell me about this guy.
Well, I make this bigger size, and then I have a smaller size, and he is just stained and stained and stained.
Now, is
and
that a
sanded.
muslin or?
Yep,
what?
that
Okay.
that is muslin, and the back here, I hand
Wow, look at
quilted.
this. You did?
I hand quilted the you know,
Wow, look at
seams
that.
on there to make the feathers, and then I painted the top.
Oh, so
So,
cute.
Thank you.
What's your favorite thing to make?
Snowman. Yeah, I
Everybody
just
has
love
their
those.
favorite, don't they?
Yeah, I sometimes have pieces and parts. I make a lot of heads and a lot of noses, and I have them in a tub. And then I'll put them together, you know, and just come
Sure.
up with something new as it kind of evolves, as I pick up different pieces and put them together and see what comes to me.
Yeah, they develop their own
They
personality.
do. They do.
This guy is one of your most recent pieces,
Yes,
right? The
yes, I
snowman.
just finished
He is
him.
so cute. Tell everyone where you got the outfit. I think that's so fun.
The outfit is a 6 to 9 month toddler's Santa outfit that I saw in a resale shop. And normally I make my own, excuse me, my own outfits.
Sure.
But I saw that and I thought, hey, that's already made.
Yes.
So I just made something, you know, proportionately to fit for that, and I love him. I really do.
You're gonna have a hard time. You're not gonna want to part with him, are you?
I don't know. There's once in a while that happens. Just once in a while.
Now, as I'm sitting here, I'm getting this whiff of something yummy, like vanilla or coffee or cinnamon. Do you use
All
those
of those things.
Really?
All of those things. Vanilla, sometimes coffee, tea, walnut ink crystals.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Cinnamon, all different kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you soak some of your fabrics in those and like tea dye them?
Uh-huh.
Or, okay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds really cool. Now, what about these guys up front here? We have some fun little guys.
Those guys up front are just exactly what I was talking about. I had a lot of balls already made and stuffed, and I had seen on the internet some snowmen that had little legs like those made out of the ticking, the red and white ticking, and I made my own version of those, and so I just kind of put those together.
That is really cool. Now, what about the little candy canes? Are those chenille?
No, well, yes, those are pipe cleaners that I twisted together, and then they have the mica flakes on them to.
Oh, so that is, it looked kind of cubier or something.
No,
I almost want to lick it. It looks like sugar.
Yeah, it's the mica.
I see. So do you take some of your work around then?
Yes, I do.
So do you know where some of your pieces have landed? Have they landed in various parts of the country?
Yeah, I have seen a lot of different lips, different places, and got a lot of calls saying I saw these lips and I have to have some.
Yeah.
So yeah, before I started doing primitives, I did sweatshirts for a while, and I sewed some primitive appliques on them, and that was really neat. These end up, in different homes, but I saw sweatshirts walking around. I'd say, "Oh, I did that sweatshirt. I made that sweatshirt."
Sure.
So that's kind of neat.
Sure. Yeah. So many people, artists work differently, and their process is different. But for you, what is it about making something that's fulfilling? Why do you keep doing it and doing it and doing it? Because you have quite a workload throughout the year. So what keeps you going?
I think it's the creative process. It's just I never shut off. I think of ideas. I see something and then it inspires me. I think of an idea, it may be as I'm laying down at night and I'm thinking about something and I jot it down and I go for it the next day. Sometimes people will mention to me, I've had people say, I want a man snowman. You need to do, something like that. So sometimes people will tell me what they want.
I see. What does your family think about it?
Well, my parents love my work, but they don't like the tea dyeing. They would like me to make one, but not tea dye it. So I do occasionally, but I tell them, don't tell anybody where you got that because that's not my style.
They want the non-grunge version, is that?
Yes.
I see. Now, what about, you have a husband and a daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they in on this? Does your daughter ever help you?
Well, my daughter, one year, she decided that she was going to do it. And she says, why do you really enjoy this over and over and over? But she made some things one year, and she was successful with that. But she didn't do it again. Now my husband, he made the pipe for the snowman here, my corncob pipe.
Oh, awesome!
He will cut stems for my pumpkins, and he cut the antlers for my reindeer. So he helps me.
Sure.
But he doesn't sew or paint or any of that stuff.
I see. And he probably walks around the stuff in the house, right?
Yes, he does. He makes a path right through it.
That's the way it is in my house, I know for sure. So this guy's cool. I just noticing the scarf on him though. Did you knit
I crocheted that?
You crocheted
Yes,
it?
I did. I crocheted that.
Multi-talented.
Yeah, I learned how to do that from a girl when I worked at a bank.
Oh, I see. Well, I had a friend try to teach me to knit one time. It didn't go well, so I leave it
Well,
up
I
to her.
learned from a left-handed girl, so I don't crochet the correct way. But that's the good thing about primitive. It's not supposed to be perfect.
I love
so
that.
fits my world perfect because I'm not perfect.
That's good.
And I don't want to do anything perfect.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for bringing all of this in and
Thank
sharing
you.
it with us. Especially, I know it's a busy time of year for you, so
Yes.
we really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your holidays.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure thing. Thank you for watching Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles. If you know someone we should be talking to, we'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.